You can all hear me. Okay, so we are live now. We are live now. All right. Why are there a few number of persons in this class? Okay, I believe others will join us along the line. All right. Good morning once again. It's Friday. The weekend is about to be here. Let's see what we can gather from the market to have ourselves a lovely weekend. Right. So first and foremost, let's go to Forest Factory. I'll be sharing my screen shortly. Just give me a few moments. Mm. Okay, so I believe you can all hear me. Let me get interaction on the chat section. If you can hear me, let me get a yes. Let me get a yes. Let me get a yes if you can hear me. Okay, perfect. Perfect. All right, so for today we have some fundamentals coming out. Looking at Forest Factory, we have fundamentals on Euro by 840 on Euro. So Lagarde will be speaking by 840. That will be affecting the Euro. Then we have a core CPI. We have a core CPI flash estimate. And so on by 1:30, we have news on card. Their GBP will be coming out on card by 1:30. We also have core core PCE, that's a price index on the USD, which is an high impact news. We have by 2:45, we have Chicago PMI. Then by 3 p.m., we have revised consumer sentiment. Right, so we have news coming out on the euro, card, and then the USD. Right. So yesterday we actually we had a couple of high impact news, and we could see the spike in the market. Some the likes of US 100 actually reacted quite a lot to the news that came out, especially the one that came out by 1:30, the final GDP that came out by 1:30, that came out negative for the dollar. It made the stocks like US 100 actually push up. Right. Then we also had a Fetch Powell spoke yesterday night. That was around 9 p.m. But surprisingly enough, we didn't really see any major volatility from that speech from Fetch Powell, right? We didn't see any volatility from that, right? So hopefully by the time those news come out today, we should expect good volatility. Since they're high impact news and a couple of medium impact news, we should expect good volatility on the majority of the currency pair, right? So that being said, let's quickly go down to the chart. Let's quickly go down to the chart. Let me share my MC4. Okay, so before we go down to the MT4, I also like to look at currency strength index. Currency strength index to give me an idea of how strong each of the currencies are actually doing, right? So I use a currency strength index from Baby Pips. Currency strength index from Baby Pips. Okay, so looking at it on a daily time frame, overall on a daily time frame, we have the USD currently the weakest, yes, currently the weakest currency of the bunch. We have followed by card. We have euro, which is low. We have GBP. We have JPY. The strongest being NZD AUD, and then CHF is actually pulling a little bit of weight, right? So based on this, of course, I know I'm going to be pairing strong instruments with weak instruments to get a clear-cut direction in the market, and that will be my guiding principle. But that's on an overall on a daily time frame, right? That's on a daily time frame. Let's look at on a 1 hour time frame. Let's see which is currently doing well. Right, so still on a daily time frame, on an hourly time frame rather, NZD is actually doing poorly this hour. We have USD followed by GBP. We have CAD. JPY is currently the strongest of the bunch for this hour, then CHF, and then Euro, right? So we'll be looking at dollar index first to determine what the dollar index is doing and use that as a guiding principle for every other currency. So like I said, the dollar has actually been has not been doing so well, starting from yesterday when we had a couple of high impact news that came out negative for the dollar. So we had the effect on that on the dollar. And I think that might actually continue this morning up until when we have the news come out. So basically, I might just want to go in for my trade, but I might want to go in for my trade technically. Right, this is on a daily time frame. You could see, despite the fact that price is currently selling, you can see that dollar has been on a consistent high, right? So what you're seeing this morning is not surprising. It's mostly going to be just a minor retracement, and then continuation. It might continue because if you look at it clearly, dollar had actually the dollar index had actually broken the previous high, yeah, at around this point. It broke above this point here, and then coming back to retest my trend line, right? So I have my trend line here, and you could see price being supported on this trend line, making a consistent higher high, right? And then a higher low, right? This low, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So most likely you might get a 6 retest, a sixth retest here. So if that happens, you might see the dollar index continue to push up. And of course, I think like I've been saying since the beginning of the week, the dollar or the USD have tried their very best to ensure that they keep their currency strong, right? They've tried their very best to ensure that they keep their currency strong, and that's been playing out. And I think and there's still speculation of a further increase in interest rate, at least by 25% basic point, which should still give a boost to the dollar, right? So I think in general, the US have mastered the way of baiting investors into to still keep coming into the US economy. You understand? They've mastered the act of baiting investors by giving them what to look up to at every point in time. So they give them what to look up to at every point in time, and that way they stay positive and they stay strong, right? So if you're going to be looking at daily dollar index on a 1 hour time frame, I wouldn't want to go in for a sell, right? Currently, you could see that despite the fact that price has been selling for a while, I want to employ the use of my stochastic now, getting my oversold and overbought region, right? I want to use my stochastic to get my oversold and overbought region. So currently, you could see that the price has gotten to my oversold region, and then if you look closely at your stochastic, you could see that there's been a crossing established, and a crossing at the bottom here would only indicate a golden cross, expecting that price would push up. And currently, price is resting on a support. This support used to be a resistance of price, where price tested about 1, 2, 3, 3 tests, and it was able to break it here. And then coming to form a support, this point has been supported price once, and then another support for price again currently going on. So I'll be banking on the fact that price might actually bounce off this point, right? I'll be banking on the fact that price might actually bounce off this point, pushing back up, moving technically, depending on when the news comes out. So I'd want to go in for a buy, right? I want to go in for a buy, putting my stop loss here below this. So should price break below here, then you might now consider a sell. But currently, if you're looking at it technically, you don't go in for a buy, looking at the fact that price has oversold. So going in for another sell at this point in time might not be a smart thing to do. So going for a buy, you could do an instant buy, right? You could do an instant buy. Let me mark that. So you could do an instant buy, bring your stop loss a little below. So put your stop loss at around 105.354. Could leave your stop loss at 105.354. An instant buy, or you could use a buy limit, right? If you don't want to use an instant buy, you could use a buy limit, right? If you're a very cautious trader, you could use a buy limit at price level 105.487, right? You could use a buy limit at 105.487. 105.487. You could use a buy limit at that point, or you use an instant buy, whichever one. But ensure you put your stop loss around this point at price level 105.354. You have your stop loss there. Then your take profits, of course, you want to put your take profits at the next resistance at the top, at the resistance at the top here. So I'll have my take profit at 105.852. 105.852. So my preference, looking at it technically, is actually going to be a buy. Right. Let's go to a smaller time frame. Yes, even on a 30 minutes time frame, that buy is also in order. You can see price has approached 20 here, which is oversold, right? Looking at it on a 15 minutes time frame too, same thing. Looking at it on a 5 minutes time frame, you see the same thing. So on a 5 minutes time frame, you could see the candlestick pattern here, right? On a 5 minutes time frame, you could have you could see that you have your long leg doji, right? Your long leg doji, and if this candle closes bullish, like it is in the next 5 minutes, if this candle closes bullish, that's an indication for a buy, right? An indication for a buy. Of course, price is still at your oversold region. So everything on USD IDX is pointing for a buy, right? So I'd want to go in for either an instant buy, or you use, and even if you're using a pending order buy limit, price must have triggered it by now. Price must have triggered it by now. So you could just go all heads in and kick into that buy, right? And kick into that buy. Of course, have your stop loss. So alternatively, if I thought you're actually going to consider a sell, right? If I thought you're going to consider a sell, you'd want to consider a sell below these points where I gave my stop loss. So if I thought you want to consider a sell, you want to go in for a sell below this point where I have my stop loss at price level 105.354. 105.354. So you put a pending order for a sell stop at 105.354, and then of course you'd want to take your profit for a sell at the next support somewhere around here, right? Have your take profit somewhere around here at a price level 104.987. 104.987. But my preference on USD IDX is a buy, technically speaking, right? So let's look at GBP USD. Let's look at GBP USD. GBP USD. GBP USD. So for GBP USD, you could see a lot of persons have actually been praying for this uptrend on GBP USD. I think especially for those that trade GBP USD quite a lot. You know, the dollar has actually been slumming for GBP USD on its own has actually been slumming for quite a while. So everybody is just hoping for a recovery on the GBP, and not so much is happening on the GBP, right? I don't know what's happening in that region, but we've not been getting we've not been getting a lot of high impact news from the GBP. It seems mostly everything around the economy is just a little quiet. I don't know if it's because they are
Can't hear you. The audio is lost. No audio.
Lots of audio.
Okay.
Hello, I can't really see or hear anything right here. Everyone should be patient.
Okay. Okay. Sorry about that. I think the network just went off all of a sudden, and I was trying to sort that out. I believe you can all hear me. Sorry about that. Break in transmission. Uh, are we still here? Yeah. Hey, Nigeria. Abi, nothing is reliable in Nigeria. I wonder when when we'll be able to hold a class without interruption of network. Yeah. We have a long way to go in this country. Well, okay, so I was talking about GBP USD before the network cut us off, right? So for GBP USD, we've actually had GBP GBP, we've had the USD win against the GBP for a couple of days now because of the majority of the news coming out on the USD zone, which has been giving boost to the dollar. And on the GBP, on the GBP on itself has not been getting a whole lot of volatility. Like I was trying to say, they've just been trying to stay afloat. There's been nothing really peculiar happening around the GBP zone. So yesterday, when we had those news that came out negative for the dollar, we had a push up on the GBP as a result of the fall in the dollar, right? So, if you look at it, that stretch from yesterday, around yesterday afternoon up until this morning. So, I don't think that's where a volatility might still last. I don't think that buy would still continue. So if I'm looking at GBP USD, I'm going to be looking at more of a retracement of price, at least to cover up a little of those of that buy move from yesterday. And I like using my volume, right, my volume indicator to give me the level of buyers and sellers in the market. So looking at it, RSI has actually got into my overbought region. So considering a buy at this point in time might be very dicey. So instead of going in for a buy, I most likely will be going in for a sell, right? I most likely will be going in for a sell to trade the fall in price, because at this point, price is currently look at on starting from a 5 minutes time frame. Let's start from a 5 minutes time frame. From a 5 minutes time frame, price is retracing off 70 on my RSI, indicating that price would actually push down. And if you see it here, you have a price piercing here. You have, for those that are familiar with a candlestick pattern, you see that we have what we call a price piercing at a resistance at the top here. And this candle, if this candle closes bearish, that will be my confirmation for a sell. That'll be that's on a 5 minutes time frame. Looking at it on a 15 minutes time frame, you are having more of somewhat of an inverted hammer. If this candle closes like this, definitely that's also an indication for a sell. On a 30 minutes time frame, you have a spinning top at your resistance, a spinning top. Though this candle is still forming, it might end up forming as a spinning top, or might end up as an inverted hammer. But the major thing is that it's at a resistance point. So definitely you're still looking at indication for a sell. Your RSI is also still above 70, which is at an overbought region. So on a 1 hour time frame, what I want to do is I'd want to key into that volatility by going in for an instant sell at this point in time, technically speaking. And because we have volatility, we have news coming out on the dollar and no news coming out on the GBP. So definitely this will just be moving technically, and it might not last. That sell might not last. So you might just want to key into it as fast as you can. So going for an instant sell and have your take profit very close at price level 1.222. Oh, there are so many twos here. Let me count that very well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so 1.22222, right? 1.22222, right? So you have your take profit at around that point. So instant sell, have your profit at 1.22222. Of course, you put your stop loss above that resistance point around here. Have your stop loss above that resistance. Okay. So you could have your stop loss above that resistance. Maybe you target at price level 1.22574. 1.22574. You have your stop loss at around that point. So my preference for GBP USD is a sell, looking at it technically, or depending on when the news actually comes out. All right, so the next instrument is going to be Euro USD. I think similar thing is playing out on Euro USD also. Euro USD too has also been suffering major falls as a result of the strength in the dollar, right? I already explained why the dollar has been strong for a couple of days now, right? So what we are seeing here is also a major retracement, a major pullback. Or will I say major or minor? Could it be? But we can't really tell if it's a major pullback or a minor, because if that news comes out, there's every possibility that price might actually continue to go down. And don't forget, price was actually at the support zone here. Price retraced off the support here, right? So if the news actually comes out against the dollar, then you might be seeing a full reversal of price. You might be getting a full reversal of price. If the news comes out negative for the dollar, you might be getting a full reversal of price. But for now, let's just hope for a further retracement. But if you are keyed into that news from yesterday, you would have been able to take advantage of the retracement. So this is on a daily time frame. You could see price piercing and this. So if you had keyed into that news yesterday, you would have taken advantage of the retracement. So the major question is, will that retracement continue? Will that retracement continue? So if I'm looking at it on a smaller time frame, coming to a 1 hour time frame, let's see on the 4 hours. Yes, on the 4 hours time frame, you could see that price has been buying for a while, almost getting close to my overbought region. Coming to a 1 hour time frame, price has already, on the 1 hour time frame, you see price has already rested on my overbought region, and that overbought region also indicates my resistance price, right? My resistance price. So price is very close to that resistance, very, very close to that resistance. So what I would want to do is I would want to put a sell limit, right? I want to put a sell limit. And of course, we have news coming out on the USD. So most likely, at least, even if you're looking at sentiment might actually push the chart in favor of the dollar. So you might want to just put your sell limit at price level, or before price level. You put your sell limit before price level 1.06091, 1.06091. Put your sell limit before that point. So before you get to 1.06091, you could put your sell limit around there. Or you could, if you're a risk trader, if you want to go all out, you could do an instant sell, right? You could do an instant sell. Only that if you're using an instant sell, of course, your trade might linger in negative for a while, depending on when price now hits that resistance and start coming down. It's also a strategy. You put in an instant sell, allow price to go hit that resistance. So your trade might actually linger in negative for a while, up until when price comfortably hits that resistance and start coming down. But definitely my RSI is indicating that price has overbought, and definitely it should start to sell any moment from now. It should start to sell any moment from now. So if you're a cautious trader, you might want to use sell limits, right? And then of course, if you're using sell limits, you want to put your take profits down here at the next support. So it's going to be also a short trade because we have fundamentals coming out. So I want to be out before that fundamental. So I have my take profit at price level. Let me change the color for this. Have my take profit at price level 1.05740. 1.05740. I have my take profit at around that point. And of course, you wouldn't want to miss out adding your stop loss. So if price breaks above my resistance point, or should price break above that resistance point, you just want to cut out that loss and move on. So you cut out your loss at price level 1.06200. 1.06200, 1.06200. You leave your stop loss there. So you can see that your profit potential and your risks is you have more profit potential compared to what you're risking on that trade, right? Compared to what you're risking on that trade. So that's my preference for USD, Euro USD. It's going to be a sell, right? Technically speaking. So USD JPY, wow. USD JPY is one thing about JPY, any weakness in dollar, right? A little weakness in the dollar and you have very, very long candles. And for those that trade early hours of the morning, Asian session around 2, they will have been able to take advantage of this volatility. Unfortunately, I don't stay up that late, or I don't stay up that early, right? So for those that were able to key into this, that's good for you, right? But if you're looking at this chart and you're considering a further sell, I'll tell you, you will just be shooting yourself in the leg, because price has actually been selling for quite a while, roughly around the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the past 5 hours. Price has been selling consistently. So, but if you're going in for a sell now, you will just be shooting yourself in the leg. So I'd rather just wait for the retracement of price, right? I'd rather just wait for the retracement of price. So price is still traveling up until this support. So price is still traveling up until this support. So you might just want to use a buy limit instead, right? I would say, okay, I know some persons say, why can't we just take a sell up until this to this support point? Yes, you can do that, but don't forget, if you're doing that, where will you have your stop loss? That means you'll be risking more than you are willing to make. So instead of that, the smart thing to do would be to put your buy limit, so limiting. So once this sell comes all the way down to this support, you could take a buy from there. And don't forget, price has already approached my oversold region or my stochastic, right? So any moment from now, you could get a golden cross, and that will be an indication for a buy. So to be on the safe side, I would want to go in for a sell, or for a buy rather, or put a buy limit. If you like the strategy I said before, if you do an instant buy, you will still be in order, but the only thing is your trade might linger in negative for a while, depending on when price hits this support and starts going back up. So if you're doing an instant sell, your trade might linger in negative for a while, depending on when price hits that support and start pushing back up. Or you could do a buy limit. So put your buy limits before 148.436. You could put your buy limits before that price. So somewhere in between these points, have your buy limit somewhere in between these points, right? Have your buy limit somewhere in between these points. So before 148.436, have your buy limits there. So once price is able to hit your buy limit, you could ride the buy up until this resistance point. So you could see this support here, which will now be serving as a resistance for price. You see this support here, which will now be serving as a resistance for price. So I'd want to put my take profit at price level 148.731, 148.731, and then of course I have my stop loss here at 148.328, 148.328, 148.328. So if you're looking at it on the 30 minutes, it will make a whole lot of sense. So this is it on the 30 minutes. You could see price at your oversold region on the 30 minutes, and on the on the 15 minutes, you could see a flat line below your oversold region. So going in for a continuous sell at this point in time might just be you trying to shoot yourself in the leg, right? So my preference for USD JPY is actually a buy, but pending orders, buy limit, pending order, buy limit, pending order, buy limit. Or you could go in for an instant buy, right? Hold your trade out for the drawdown, depending on when price hits that support and starts pushing back up. So it's up to you, right? It's up to you. Okay, so let's look at we've looked at about 4 currency pairs. Let's look at USD CAD. Let's look at USD CAD. I think USD CAD also is moving in the same direction, right? So on my USD CAD here, I have money flow index. Let me also add my RSI. I have money flow index. Let me also add my relative strength index or stochastic, either of the two. Okay, which one? Okay, I have my hands on stochastic. All right, so on my stochastic, yes, my money flow index is showing me that there's a lot of bearish pressure in the market. And also, if you're looking at the chart, price has actually rested on a support zone. Yeah, price is resting on a support. Price is resting on a support, right? So I wouldn't want to also just jump in for a sell at this point in time. So I'll be using the same strategy I used on USD JPY. I'll be using the same strategy I used on USD JPY. So it's either you're going in for an instant buy or you're putting a buy limit before this support zone. So you could see this support here. You could see this support there. I'd want to go in for a buy limit. So should price hit this point at price level 1 point. Okay, let me use red line for my entry and green line for my take profits. Okay, so my support is at around here. So price level 1.34345, 1.34345. So that's my support. So you want to put your buy limit before that point. So what I'm saying before that point is so that price would trigger your buy limit before being rejected from that support. And rejection might not really be price hitting that point. Price might not actually touch that point. So you want to be sure that price actually gets to your entry or triggers your limits before it starts pushing back up. So you might want to put it maybe a little closer to the price, ensuring that it hits there, or outrightly just going for an instant buy and wait it out going for an instant buy, wait it out, wait the drawdown out for price to hit that support and start going back up, right? And then, of course, have your stop loss below that support. There's a fake out below that support, so you might want to put your stop loss below that fake out. So have your stop loss at price level 1.34177, 1.34177. You could have your stop loss at around that point. And of course, the most reasonable place to put your take profit to be here, where you have, if you look at it closely, there's a resistance here. This used to be a support, but this is now a resistance, and this here. So you don't want to have your take profit at around price level 1.34631, 1.34631, right? So that's buy limit for USD CAD. So my preference is a buy. For USD JPY, the buy limit is 148. USD JPY 148.436. 148.436. Have your stop loss at 148.328. Then have your take profit at 148.731. 148.731. Or you could outrightly just go in for an instant buy and then still retain your stop loss and your take profits, right? So that's USD CAD. Look at USD IDX. Let's look at gold. Gold is just a reactive instrument to the dollar, right? It's just a reactive instrument to the dollar. And of course, because the dollar has actually not been doing so well as at yesterday and today, we have this a little push up on gold. So the question now is, will that push up continue? Price has gotten to a resistance point and is struggling at around that point, but I still see there's every possibility price might still continue going up. But with the fact that we have news coming out on the dollar, right, there is every possibility that gold might still continue to push down, right? There's every possibility that gold might still continue to push down. Okay, so that being said, what I'm going to be doing for gold also will be you could do this. You could see that price is still trying to get to this resistance point, right? There's every possibility that price will still get to this resistance point. So if you want to go in for a buy, you could still go in for a buy from now to this resistance, right? You could go in for a buy from now to this resistance at price level 11878.91, right? You could go in for a buy from now to this resistance. So you could go in for a buy from now to, so when I say now, it means an instant trade, right? When I say now, it means an instant trade. So you could go in for a buy from now to 1878.91, right? Or alternatively, you could wait for price to get to that resistance and then take a sell following the fall in price, right? You could comfortably wait for price to get up to this resistance and then take a sell. That way, you get a much more longer trade, right? And a much more profitable trade that way. So if you're doing that, you're going to be doing this. You're going for a buy limit or a sell limit rather. You're going in for a sell limit once price picks this resistance, right? Once price gets to this resistance, so you use this resistance point as your sell limit and then have your take profits at this point here, right? And this would also give you an opening for you to put a good stop loss. So you want to put your stop loss above this resistance point, somewhere around here, right? So you could see that you get better entries if you're going to be waiting for, but there's still possibility for you to take a buy up until that resistance. But the only thing is, if you're going to be putting your stop loss is going to be below the support zone, which is quite far, right? It might be a quick trade, but it's not as profitable as if you're going to be waiting for price to get to this resistance and then taking a sell back down to this support. I don't know if you get me. I believe you get that strategy, right? So even if you're looking at it on a 30 minutes time frame, also, you could see clearly where price has to travel to get to this resistance, right? So it's either you're putting your sell limit at this resistance, expecting that price gets to that point and comes back down, right? Expecting that price gets to that point and comes back down, then have your take profit here. Okay, so having that in mind, so you just want to put your take profit below here and then your stop loss at price level 1883.22, 1883.22. Have your stop loss at around there. So let's look at oil. Okay, so for oil, let me see. I have my Bollinger. Let me take out Bollinger Bands. So we get, and then my moving average. I'm going to be taking out my moving average. I don't want that. Okay, perfect. So for oil, also take out lines from previous. So for oil, we actually have oil ranging around this region. Oil has been ranging around this point, yeah, and yeah. The last thing I actually heard on oil was further cut in production by Saudi Arabia, right? So I think cut in production actually pushed the price of oil up, right? And yesterday I don't think I got any news on oil yesterday, right? So but for this morning we have oil actually ranging at around this point. So I most likely want to trade oil because of this range. I most likely want to be trading oil using the breakout strategy, right? So because it has been trading in between this region, I wouldn't want to take a trade in between this region, right? This is more of a flat market, right? It's neither a clear buy or a clear sell. So what you'd want to do, you could see price range from here up until this point. So for you to get good entry on oil, you might want to wait for price to either break above or break below this particular region. So this is a price that's been ranging between 93.49 and 92.47. So if I want to go in for a buy, I'd want to wait for price to break above this point, 93.49. I'm going for a buy. Once price breaks above there, take my profit around here at 94.17. Well, 94.13 rather, 94.13. So that will be my pending order for a buy stop. So my buy stop will be buy at 93.49, take my profit at 94.13. Then alternatively for a sell, so you could have both your buy stop and your sell stop trapping price. This strategy is what we call price trapping. So I trap price in between. If price pushes up, I take advantage of the buy. If price pushes down, I take advantage of the sell, right? So if price goes in for a sell, of course you want to go in for a sell below the support. So once price is able to break below price level 92.74, I would go in for a sell down to price level 92.20, 92.20, 92.20, 92.20. So okay, I'm going to repeat the entry for gold. Okay, for gold, I was saying for sell limit for gold, have your sell limit at price level 187, 8.74, 187.8.74. Have your stop loss at 188.3.22, 188.3.22. Then you could have your take profit at 186.3.23. That's for gold. The take profit at 1863.23. That's for gold. So back to oil. I said I'm going to be using breakout strategy. So should price break above, I'll be taking my profit, my buy stop at 93.49, then have my take profit at 94.13, right? Then alternatively for the sell, should price break below, I'd want to take my profit, my sell stop. If price breaks below 92.74, take my profit at 92.20, 92.20. So that's for oil. Let's look at US indices and then we'll call it a day, right? So my indices has quite a whole lot of, okay, sorry, let me take out my horizontal line from previous analysis. All right, so for indices also, we have price actually trading at a resistance point. Let me you have price trading at your resistance point, and this resistance is actually a strong one because price has tested there. This is the third time price is actually testing there at the moment, right? So technically speaking, I'd want to I'd be considering more of a sell on US index. I'll be considering more of a sell on US index. But but to be sure, let me add my stochastic. Okay, so to be sure, I have my stochastic here already at my overbought region is above 80, and I'm sure if you also add your RSI will be above 70. So what I'd want to do is I want to go in for a sell. You could do an instant sell, right? You could do an instant sell from this resistance point, right? You could do an instant sell from this resistance point, having your stop loss at the next at this point here, having your stop loss at price level. So if you're doing an instant sell, you have your stop loss at price level 15018.31, 15018.31, 15018.31, 15018.31. So you have your stop loss at around that point. Then you could push your take profits at this point here. So of course, you'll be having more profit margin compared to what you're risking on that trade. So you have your take profit at price level 14840, 14840.25, 14840.25. So you have your take profit before that point. So you don't necessarily need to wait for price to hit your take profit before you jump out of the market. It's US indices. It's very volatile and very profitable, right? So you could, my preference is a sell, right? You could do an instant sell, have your stop loss at 15018.31, 15018.31, have your stop loss, your take profit, that's stop loss. The first one is stop loss, 15018.31, stop loss, have your take profit at price 14840.25, 14840.25, right? So then let's look at US 2000. Well, for US 2000 on a 15 minutes time frame, you're already getting clear indication of what price is actually going to do. You have your inverted hammer, very, very sweet inverted hammer, right? In all indication for a sell. So instant sell US 2000 also. This is on a 15 minutes time frame. It's going to be a short trade. Instant sell US 2000 instant sell, having your take profit at 1808.0, 1808.0, 1808.0. You don't have your stop loss, have your stop loss above that resistance, somewhere around there at 1820.6, 1820.6, 1820.6, 1820.6. Well, my preference for US 2000 is a sweet sell, right? Looking at your RSI too, price is above 70 and it's currently pushing down. So a sweet sell on US 2000, and with a good lot size, you can even actually make all the money you want to make on US 2000 for today, right? So I think that will be the last instrument we'll be treating. It was nice having you guys. Please ensure, in as much as you are getting trade signals or you're attending the morning market review, also put in an effort to understand how most of this strategy works, So put in effort, YouTube videos, attend training, attend classes, get to understand each of these indicators, how to apply them to the chart. And that's the only way you would become a profitable trader. That's the only way you will become a profitable trader. So it was nice having you guys. Do have a wonderful, wonderful weekend.